Hi, it's John from JVS. Now this one goes back, takes me back to over 20 years ago, well over 20 years ago, when vision effects mixers were the really in thing, and this one was the biggest of the beasts. This is the WJ Mx50 vision mixer. Now it really brings me back to the days when I used to speak to Martin Hanson and Peter Millward at Panasonic Broadcast, just name dropping, and also Gerald Guttridge from Panasonic Domestic in Slough, and in the service divisions, and the MX50 was one of the elite really vision mixers. It suffered with its problems, like the same as the AV5s, the 10s, the MX10s, the very early ones, the MX7s. But this one was everybody's dream, was every production and editor's dream, really, an effects dream. And the MX50 suffered with one or two common problems, and one was intermittent. First of all, I'd like to thank Simon from Coventry for bringing this over, because I can't believe it that this MX50 has seen the test of time. He still uses it, still loves it, and this MX50, like all MX50s, one of the common problems on the MX50 was power supplies. I used to do loads of these MX50s with faults on power supply sections, and this is no exception. But this has gone through the test of time, and only now has it come to me with this fault. And as you'll see, I'll power it up, and you'll see the lights. Is it switched on at the rear? Yep. You'll see the lights. You might see the lights flicker, or maybe not, as the case may be. But this one come dead to me, and yeah, it's dry joints on the power supply. Very common problem. Another common problem on the MX50 was the loss of chroma on particular bus channels, either bus channels, and you always knew that the fault was in the encoder decoder section, because you could switch the program buttons as you could with most of the mixers, so you knew where the problems were. But this MX50, yeah, it's got a typical fault on the power supply. That suffered with encoder decoder problems, also loss of chroma, loss of colour on certain buses. That tended to be the 4433619 chroma reference, sort of drifting. Apart from that, they were pretty good mixers, I will be honest. So I'd like to thank you, Simon, for bringing this one to me, and it needs a clean down, so I shall remove some of the boards and replace some of the pots and function switches, because some of the function switches are damaged on it. But yeah, great mixer, and they were a workhorse. They worked for ages. They were brilliant. So thank you for that. Thanks very much. Thank you. Bye bye.